contains spoilers for Squid Game Season 2. Make a mistake in the title competition of Squid Game and you may lose your life. Failing to catch some of the references and nods to the previous season while watching the show has much lower stakes, sure, but you don't want to miss anything, do you? In Season 1, it quickly becomes apparent that Gi-hun owes money to a loan shark played by Kim Pa-blae. It's also clear that his loan shark, coincidentally named Mr. Kim, is none too happy with him when he and 3 of his goons leave Gi-hun bleeding in a bathroom. While things aren't looking too good for Gi-hun at this point, after winning the top prize in the games, 45.6 billion won, things change. In Squid Game Season 2, not only does Gi-hun pay off the loan shark, he also hires him to look for the man who recruited him into the games. The show doesn't particularly underline the fact that Kim was originally Gi-hun's loan shark. The topic comes up in a conversation between the loan shark's guys about whether or not Gi-hun is delusional. They've been looking for the salesman for 2 years to no avail, so everyone's begun to doubt Gi-hun. But Mr. Kim says he believes him because he's had people who owe him money disappear recently. Plus, Gi-hun is his only client who has ever paid him back. This version of the loan shark is a lot nicer than the version we saw in the previous season. He even sacrifices himself for his recently married friend Woo Sok. It goes to show, we all contain multitudes. In Season 1 of Squid Game, Kang Se-bayok goes to a broker about getting her parents over to South Korea from China. The agent isn't very helpful. In fact, he tells her that it will cost her 40 million won to bring them to South Korea. In response, she douses him with hot coffee and holds a knife to his throat. She's clearly not happy, but she agrees to get the money, and she enters the games to do so, but dies before she can fulfill her promise. 3 years later, Gi-hun has taken up her cause. In Season 2, Gi-hun sees the same broker about bringing Se-bayok's mother over. The fascinating thing is that right after Gi-hun leaves his office, No-yul, the woman who works in an amusement park and becomes a soldier in the games, shows up. She is using him to locate the infant daughter she left behind in North Korea. Sadly, he's reached his limit and tells her to forget about her daughter as she can't be found.
The baby was 1 year old. How could she survive in North Korea without her parents?
Even though the agent is nicer this time, it's clearly still a tough business. Gi-hun's hired hands, led by his former loan shark, finally find the man who recruited Gi-hun into the games, and that's when things go south. The salesman brings a bound and gagged Mr. Kim and Woo Sok back to his place and has them play a deadly game for his own amusement. Then he plays a game of Russian roulette with Gi-hun. During these 2 games, the salesman plays opera. The first game is accompanied by Nessun Dorma from the final act of Puccini's opera Turandot, which is about a game in which the suitor, Caliph, challenges Princess Turandot to guess his name. If she can do it, she can execute him, but if she can't, she has to marry him. The themes are fitting, and the song is also marked by Caliph saying Vincero, meaning I will win. In the salesman's mind, it's the perfect backdrop to Mr. Kim and Woo Sok's game. The second piece of music, Conde Partiro, is played to accompany the salesman and Gi-hun's game of Russian roulette in Gi-hun's Pink Hotel. The literal translation of the title is I will leave with you, though it's known in English as Time to Say Goodbye. Although it has a more overtly romantic air to it than Nessun Dorma, it nonetheless still gets across its message for those paying attention.
Who cares about rules? The only thing you'd have to do now is pull that trigger once.
The actors for many of the characters in Squid Game have become internationally known because of their involvement in the series. But there were a couple that were already famous even before the release of the show. The man who plays the salesman and the man who plays the frontman. The salesman is portrayed by Gong Yoo. He has a small but memorable part in Squid Game, but he's even better known for his starring role as Sok-woo in 2016's Train to Busan, the Korean movie about a zombie virus that runs rampant on a train between Seoul and Busan. Even better known is the actor who portrays the elusive frontman, Lee Byung-hun. Lee has had a slew of roles in English-language films, including as Han Cho-bai in 2013's Red 2 opposite Bruce Willis, as a T-1000 opposite Arnold Schwarzenegger in 2015's Terminator Genesis, and as Billy Rox in the 2016 remake of The Magnificent Seven opposite Chris Pratt and Denzel Washington. But Lee might be best known for his work as Storm Shadow in 2009's G.I. Joe: The Rise of Cobra and its 2013 sequel, G.I. Joe: Retaliation. In addition, according to the Korea Times, Lee is a member of the Academy of Motion Pictures Arts and Sciences and was the first Korean person to present at the Oscars when he gave out an award in 2016. When we finally make it to the games in Squid Game's second season, we learn that a friend of Gi-hun's has been recruited to the games as well. The friend is named Jung Bae, the same friend that Gi-hun goes with to bet on horse racing in the first episode of Season 1.
Hold on. It'll block your card if you get it wrong again. You really gotta think about this one.
Jungbei's part in the first season is very small. He eggs Gi-hun on at an ATM where Gi-hun is using his mother's card to get cash and then goes to bet on the horses with him. But it's clear that the focus is on Gi-hun and minimal attention is paid to Jungbei. Besides, when Jungbei finally shows up in the second season, he not only looks older, but the context has changed. He apparently hasn't seen Gi-hun in 3 years, during which time he's gotten divorced and his child is with his ex-wife. While it's not good for Jungbei that he's in the games, it's a great callback to Season 1. One of the new players is a rapper named Thanos, played by Chesung-yeon, but he's better known by his stage name Top. While Thanos was known for being a runner-up in the Battle of the Bands, in real life, Top has been a successful artist and rapper for around 20 years, having premiered with the band Big Bang in 2007 as one of 2 rappers in the group. However, in 2017, Top was fined 10 million won and received a suspended prison sentence of 10 months due to marijuana use. Because of this scandal, Top confirmed he was withdrawing from Big Bang in 2022. With Squid Game, he stepped back into the spotlight, but his casting has been controversial. Many fans of the series were disappointed that he was cast when he had drug-related charges on his record. Director Won Dong-yuk has been vocal in his defense of Top though, telling Korean reporters that he's demonstrated a strong commitment to the role. While the controversy is still roiling, Top has reportedly been excluded from promotional activities associated with the show. No-Yul is a soldier in the games who takes out the players who have lost with a big gun. But there's one player she may have a hard time shooting, number 246. That's because player 246 is Gung-sok, the father of Na-yeon, the little girl that has cancer. No-Yul got to know Na-yeon at the amusement park that both she and Gung-sok worked at. Before the games, she was a costumed character who won his daughter over by offering her a lollipop during a parade, and he was a cartoonist. While one of No-Yul's last acts outside the games was to return the little girl's hat to her when she went into the hospital, she also heard Gung-sok telling the doctors that he would figure out how to pay for his daughter's treatment somehow. No-Yul sees him in the first game and realizes what's happened. It seems like she'll try to preserve his life, even though she's been cold-blooded about everyone else. That is, until he dies at the end of Season 2. Throughout the show, there are several pop culture references that you may have missed. First is a joke about Thanos, the name of player 230. When he asks Sammy to partner with him on the second game and tells her his name is Thanos, she asks him if he's gotten all the Infinity Stones yet. Marvel fans know that Thanos was once the big bad of the Marvel Universe, and that his objective was to get all 6 Infinity Stones so he could snap half of the universe out of existence.
Don't even need a snap, kill half the universe with a rap.
The 5th episode of the second season has interesting references as well. First, Dae-ho references Kim Pyong-hyun when he's referring to Jungbei's successful performance in the second game. Kim Pyong-hyun was a successful Korean pitcher who played for the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Boston Red Sox. Notably, he was on the Diamondbacks when they won the World Series in 2001, making him the first Korean player to win a World Series. One more deep cut. The first name of player 149, Ji-yoon-cha, is the same as the main character in Park Chan-wook's Lady Vengeance. Both characters are in their current situations because of someone else. Player 149 wants to get her son out of debt, and the Ji-yoon-cha of Lady Vengeance is taking the fall for someone else's crimes. Though it's not clear that this is a deliberate reference, the similarity is striking. In the first season, we discovered that the man who runs the games, known as the Frontman, is Hong Joo-ho's brother, In-ho, right before In-ho shoots Jun-ho and sends him into a coma. In Season 2, we get to know the Frontman better because he becomes player number 1, and to his friends in the games, he's known by the name Young-il. He says that his wife has cirrhosis and needs a liver transplant, plus she's pregnant and determined to give birth. None of that is true, at least not now. In-ho's wife died years ago, and while In-ho did win the games, that didn't save her. Jun-ho mentions to his mother in episode 2 of the second season that In-ho was caught taking bribes. In-ho explains the situation to Gi-hun 2 episodes later, saying that his vendor offered to help with his wife's situation, and his employer incorrectly assumed it was a bribe and fired him. This is how he ended up in the games. Jun-ho and his mother also don't appear to know anything about the child. It's possible only In-ho and his wife knew about the child, and when she died, the child died as well. Or it's possible there never was a child. The fact remains that In-ho is currently running the games without a wife or a child, and one way or another, something happened that made him less merciful to his fellow contestants.